Alright guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to overgo the band protocol. If you're new to my channel, please check out the video of how this channel works. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right into it. This is an overview of the band protocol. As you can see, it's got some strong team membership stuff. It's got some decent governance leading to good developers and funding for the developers. It's got some weak recent token aspects leading to my ultimate conclusion, which is I'm going to wait to buy this, even though it's a decent product, oracles. It's got some strong competition with Chainlink. And so, ultimately this led me to conclude that I think that we're going to see some maybe pullbacks in the short term, but this is a good project nonetheless. So let me jump into the summary of what problem does this project currently serve, or what market does it serve? It's trustless data feeds, and this project has been live since June 10th. So where do oracles get their value acquisition from? Where do they derive their value? And the fact that trust costs money. Okay, so an oracle is nothing but is a data feed. Okay, so you have an exchange or you need real world data, okay? And that could be shipping lanes, that could be anything, right? And you have this code that executes, automatically, and what it needs to do is trust that the data that it's coming to this code is trustworthy, okay? And what you're doing is paying a premium for that trust. And that's what an oracle is. That's where an oracle derives its business model. You're basically paying for that trust, and that data is not corrupt. Otherwise, if you weren't paying for it, if it was free, like in a centralized manner, someone could interrupt that data stream, or someone could corrupt that data stream if it didn't cost anything to interrupt that data. And you can get wrong data, and then someone could make a malicious attack and cause a financial gain from this miscommunication of information. So there is a need for oracles to have a cost associated with that trust, because they put work into that mechanism, and so they get a yearly income, and the market cap of the oracle is derived from that income. So that's great. We can come up with a good model, and I will do that. A good model of how these oracles can be evaluated, and how we can know based on value movements how valuable the oracle should be, the market cap. So what problem will this project solve in the future? It's going to expand its service providers, onboarding data sources, partnerships, expansion, bridges to multiple blockchains. This is an important one, in my opinion. And they have mentioned Polkadot. I think Polkadot's the main project that people have to be connecting to if they want to capture that Pareto principle, that McCaff's law of the square of the users is the value of the network. I think Polkadot is in the best position to capture that Metcalfe's law aspect, because it's a bridge it's like the port for allowing for all these projects to connect to each other. And they have mentioned that, but so has their competitor Chainlink. But yes, they're going to be doing that by the end of this year. So connecting the other blockchains and that kind of stuff, which they definitely need to have a lot of customers for their trusted data. So does the team have a track record for showing that they can deliver? Many are computer science engineers, and they have extensive experience in that. So I would say yes, absolutely. In this is a computer science heavy project, and they are that, which is what you would want, for an oracle service, because it's going to be who's your customer. Your customer is data users. They're going to be APIs. They're going to be programmers. So yes, you want programmers talking to programmers, and you want it has the right people associated with this project, because they're going to be the customers are going to be other developers. If you're familiar with my channel, I start with two aspects of a project. Is a token used for services, and does it have a lot of room for growth in its market? And yes, it does. It does, absolutely. you can see I have some math here. I'm going to get into that in the very end of the video, but that's an explanation of the size of their market and how valuable that is. However, I'm going to jump right into it and start from the top. So I conclude that I'm going to wait to buy this project. I'm going to give it some time, and that's because the project has seen some significant price growth. We'll get into that when I get into the diagram, but from the top down, I see average performance for this project because it's something like this, and it's about right here right now, and it could do one of these for a long time. I'm going to wait until it reaches some kind of, just give it some time to cool off before I even consider looking at it in the future. Just because it's had such a massive run up, it's up 8x in 2 months. Okay, so it's had a lot of hype recently, and I will also mention why we are seeing it go down in price, and we will probably see it continue down in price at least for some time. But once again, I'll get into that. So let me just do this. Okay, so the cons. I like to start with the pros. Okay, so the pros of the project: it has a high upside potential, large market available with valid value capture. There's oracles have a good value capture. They're feasible. They're real. These are they have real business models, and they have major crypto powers. There's major crypto powers partnerships like Coinbase and Binance that are part of this, so they're definitely going to have those connections to push this project and make connections happen. So that's definitely some of the pros. The cons, it's not the best in the competition. I think Chainlink is, and the reason for that is if I was doing a service and I wanted to consult a blockchain, I would want to go with the one with the most market cap because it has the highest security, at least for its data pools. Because of that, just because Chainlink has more value to it, that value creates more security, less ability or to corrupt the data feeds, and so that makes it a stronger. And the price is not going to really be any different between Chainlink and another project unless it gets congested. And if there is congestion, like if Chainlink is not capable of servicing the market, well then I would see Band as being the number 2, ready to grab that whatever overflow Chainlink can't handle. But that is a con that most of the market is going to be captured by Chainlink. They're already in a strong position to make those Polkadot connections, etc. And also another con, this project has major inflationary forces. So that's one of the reasons I'm seeing sideways or movements or matching the general crypto performance as for now. Major price hype recently where it's been an 8x in 2 months. So that is another reason I'm not going to invest. There's plenty of projects that are ignored, so you can find opportunity anywhere, and I'll just wait on this one. So yeah, it's right there on the performance. If you were to invest now, you're buying towards the top, and that's why you would not be getting the best performance. You're probably getting average crypto performance, which is still good. I absolutely see crypto as being good performance. So do we think crypto will increase in demand? Will there be a future increase in demand for the token? I'm putting right now at these levels, not really, neutral, or the same level as general crypto performance. Okay, let's go off in here. Future market excitement from the project, neutral. Current awareness is low. No, it's pretty. People are pretty aware, strongly aware of it. It's been well promoted, relatively. However, it does have relatively low views on a lot of the social media, but it has been pretty well promoted by Binance and by CoinMarketCap, etc. But it does have relatively low numbers on YouTube. It has 27K views on YouTube on its some of its higher viewed videos, and on its team members have about 2.7 thousand viewers. And its Twitter's getting up there with 27,000 viewers. So it's it's a project that's midline awareness. People are that middle of the road awareness for this, but pretty good, pretty unaware, for the most part. It's even on the lower end right here at the yellow. So middle of the road awareness, but it did have hype. it has recently hit hype, and that's an important thing to note. It is on a lot, because it's friends with Binance and Coinbase. These guys are all buddy. It's been promoted. It's on many exchanges, especially the easy to get ones, so it's not hard to acquire. You want to get it in a project before it's on those exchanges. So major upcoming events. It has a proof of authority mainnet launch in Q3, a bridge to other blockchains by the end of this year, so Q4, and phase 2 mainnet launch in Q1 2021. So, it has some major events coming up by, 2021. The middle of 2021, it's going to have some 3 major events. Obviously, it has other ones, but I just mentioned the biggest. So that's pretty good contribution. These may lead to some hype right in the short term. Now to the ultimate reasons why I didn't invest right now. Because the bear market, it's been in extremely bull market, extremely over hyped right now, 8x in 2 months. So I'm not going to mess with something that has that kind of performance, unless, it's something like Polkadot, which, but Polkadot came out of the gate hot with a high market cap. But, I'm just, for this project, I think that's a little too red hot. So regarding the token supply distribution, 20% is distributed now, and it only has about 9K holders, but that excludes the exchange addresses. So, it's probably more than that, people holding small amounts, and they're all congested on exchanges. So that's something to consider. I consider 9K to be really, really low, but, you're not going to need a lot of holders of this anyways. If you're going to invest in, let's say Apple, how many holders are there of Apple? Probably a lot of people, but 80% of it's probably controlled by a few parties, but it still made a lot of people rich. So the point being that how relevant is that? The fact is it's 20% distributed, and that's the most negative thing there. So this is another reason. Okay, so if you're wondering why this project has seen a pullback recently, it's because of this. It has had a 66% inflation or new supply release of tokens in just recently. Okay, so 66% inflation in in a short little period, and that's being released right now. And that's why we're seeing such a strong pullback, because there's a lot of tokens being freed up. This project did launch in June 10th. It became live in June 10th. But it got all that hype, and obviously it got all that hype on purpose, and you're probably not hearing about it a lot now, but it was pumped up, and then what happened when it was pumped up? It pumped. And now it's being sold, released. These tokens are being released. Rain down the tokens, and you have a 66% inflation. So in that short period of time. So yeah, that's why I see the negative price performance, and I do see it continuing to pull back at least for some time. So one of the reasons I'm going to wait is there is still going to be a 40% inflation in 2021, and then there's 25% inflation over the next 3 years after 2021. So it's going to be having a lot of tokens released. 40. So by March 20 or by September 2021, you're going to see that 40% release. Okay, so that's including this 20% and that 16%, because it's 16% on top of the 20%, equaling 40%. So up until September of next year, there's going to be 40%. From here, 40%, and it's already pulling back. So. It has a lot of tokens being released in a short amount of time. So I'm just going to wait on it because of this, because it just has such a strong, release of tokens. So we got 150 market cap, 700, its valuation fully diluted is 750 million. For a market, there's going to be plenty of room for growth for oracles, plenty of markets, depending on what Chainlink. It's basically going to go for the scraps of Chainlink, but maybe there's going to be cryptos, plenty of room. So just have that. There's plenty of room for growth for this project, but once again, I see it as growing the same rate as crypto in general. All right, so I'm going to jump over here to the people. Okay, so Savaris, I'm gonna mess up this name so bad. So Savaris, Cyriaco, when he's the CEO, he went to Stanford and got his master's in computer science and engineering. So that's quite an accomplishment right there, to go to Stanford, as well as Sorwit Siracanhorn, the CTO, who's also the co-founder. He's the master's. He has a master's from MIT, electrical engineering and computer science. So they have that math knowledge, exactly what you need for this project, because there's a lot of technical things working in the background that use a lot of mathematics and stuff like that, and the partnerships, etc., etc. So yeah, they have that reputation, they have that school set, that knowledge from masters from prestigious universities, and they do, I do value that. So this project has a lot of strong software experience, software engineering. What some of the employees from Ericsson, which is a 22 telecommunications business with $22 billion in revenues or evaluation. And some of their employees are from Quora, Dropbox, Hudson River Trading, TripAdvisor, and Turf Map. Those are some of the, but they're all developers from these companies. And so, yeah, they have that strong experience. So the developer team's decent or good, a strong development team. I think Chainlink is the strongest of the competition. So that Chainlink competition is going to take a lot of their market and a lot of their growth away because Chainlink is already so far ahead. Yeah. So strategic partnerships and backers. They have Binance, Loopring, Tron, Coinbase, Huobi, and if you want to see more, check out my sources below the video. But they have a lot of heavy hitters such as Binance and Coinbase strategically partnering with them. So that's going to contribute to business partnerships or business push in the future. So they I do think that they're going to find viable markets. Once again, I'm just going to wait for a good price entry. That's my take on this project. I'm waiting for a good price entry. So I'm just going to wait. And if it takes off suddenly, so what? There's plenty of other projects to invest in. So I'm going to be patient. So let's go here. Those who bought in are the voters. The way this project's designed, the data set tokens, to get into the details of how this works, you have different data sets that give information to providers, and you have tokens that are generated for each one of these sets, and it's like a little government working around these data sets, and the tokens for those data sets elect these people. Okay, so that's the way it works. And the band token is used as collateral for the tokens that vote on these DPoS or these guys who control these data set pools. So the tokens, the band token is used in all of this process. However, it's only used in the election of the local data token that it becomes collateral for. It forms into the collateral for this pool. It's you got to think of these like little communities, right? And so each one of them will have their own groups that will be reflecting upon the governance of that local little set. And the band protocol in general, the band token in general, is not only used for this process, but also for the general upgradability of this project. And the structure is designed in such a way so that I don't think that custodial exchanges will be an issue like it is on other projects. 1/3 of the pool control. So protection from custodial exchange voting, those who bought in, all of that. I don't think it's going to be a negative force against this project because you need to buy majority say in the pools, the data pools, and those data pool size will be dependent on the revenues. So if a data pool is earning good revenues, then it will have a decent market cap. And if you want to buy a majority, like a 1/3 stake or control of that in order to influence that data feed. Not only are you putting those tokens up at risk, but the value of those tokens will go up exponentially to produce those data tokens. So the mechanism is very protected against bad information or even undue influence over data pools. And so the incentive is aligned properly, in my opinion, so that the people involved are voting correctly, voting for the interest of the token, voting for the data pool information. Because a data pool becomes useless if the data pool does not provide viable information. If it does not provide viable information, the data pool tokens will start becoming worthless because they won't be earning any revenue, and people will unstake their tokens from those data providers because they're providing crap information, and the people that lose out the most are the data providers that locked up their tokens in the first place. So it's a good design, in my opinion, and I don't see custodial problems like I do, like on other projects. They don't have this mechanism, so it's irrelevant for this. The lockup of tokens giving you greater voter weight and long-term thinking, they don't have that design. Only Polkadot so far that I've seen has that design. Okay, so governance. The governance, the token is used for voting on protocol upgrades and data providers. So it locks up into these localized data provider pools and can vote for the data providers in those data pools, and that's how it works. So once again, like several data pools, and data providers provide a pool, and the data tokens in this data pool, like band is converted to a specific data pool, it votes for these data providers so that they're reliable. And then this provides information, and the whole system is designed in a way to benefit, to create viable business pool structures. Yes, the general governance and is designed for the token to increase in price and to be valid and valuable. So yes, the governance is aimed at capturing value for the tokens. Yes, the token's used to promote protocol upgrades. All right. So future marketing, 20% of the budget goes to future marketing. Future awareness will increase because of this. We're going to see more people using the project, more projects using it. I do expect that to happen. Project easy to use. It's for developers, so this is kind of an irrelevant thing. Developers will do what they need to do if they need to learn a new business technology, or but I'm sure they're providing their services in such a way that developers can use it. Tokens per person to go down. I do expect that to happen. And then you could see all these forces over here taking over. So niche, currently serving a niche. Yes, it is live. It's live of June 10th. And that's Oracle's trusted data. That's I expect it to be like a 2000x market. Obviously Chainlink couldn't capture a lot of that, but this project's going to grow too. There's plenty of room for Oracle feeds. I'm going to take this one out. So fees that burn tokens, that is not part of this project. Take that out. It's not relevant here. Okay, so let's go back here. So current developer team is good, so it leads to long-term vision and strategy. Governance is also contributes to that, long-term vision and strategy. They have a great mission statement, connecting blockchains and smart contracts to trusted real-world data and services. Hey, that's what an oracle is. So they're going to be an oracle as long as that's what they are. They're going to be an oracle forever, at least as long as their data statement says, their data statement says, hey, let's be an oracle. So that's what their mission statement says. So plenty of inflation left to pay for developers, and also there's token voting, so they can devise a plan for compensating developers to stay involved. Because of that token is designed in a way to make governance decide such things. Developer motivation will be clear because they do have that clear mission statement, and they have a clear mission statement, and they do have compensation models. Vote for value of services provided to increase. I do expect that to be the case. And long-term vision and strategy to be consistent to high-value upgrades. I do expect that to be the case. And value of services to increase to contribute to business models. I do accept that, yes. So chasing yields and partnerships. I do expect both of these things to make business models that demand the token. But right now I put it as neutral because of Chainlink interrupting its competitiveness, as well as these factors in the short term. All right. So I'm going to get into some details. So guys, I'm mostly done with this project. If you're, the current niche is served is expected to grow, absolutely. But yeah, guys, I'm mostly done with this project. I'm going to get into the math explanation. If you're not interested in that, just know that there is, you can actually calculate the viability of these Oracle models. So the value of the target market, I expect the value of the target market to grow massively. And that's where we're just about to jump into that. Token used for services, see note 1, right? So I'm going to jump right into that. All right. So currently the NASDAQ does 200 billion in transactions, but we're going to look at something like Uniswap. At its height, this is an unusual height for Uniswap, but it will be sustained in the future. It had about $1 billion in volume a day. And so this is the source. This volume is the source at Uniswap of where these oracles, it has oracles feeding Uniswap, and and Uniswap pays for that service. So Uniswap charges a 0.3% fee, which is about $3 million a day in revenue. Now, I did several scenarios, whether it takes 50% of that fee, 25, 10%, or 1% to show you the different evaluations of that data pool that would exist on Band if it had that Uniswap relationship. So if it did have that 50% cost associated with that fee, that cost of trust, then it would lead to about 1.5 million a day in revenues. That would equal a valuation of 500 million in revenue, generating a $7.5 billion market cap from a natural order 15 PDE. So 15 PDE is the natural rates that income produces. Like if something will reach, if now, obviously, deviation from the PDE. If you have a low PDE, that means they expect revenues to drop in the future. If you have a high PDE, that means that people expect the future growth of a project. But if something's going sideways and it's strong, it's reliable, it's predictable, we're going to say PDE, the market decides that 15 is what 15 times earnings is what something will reach, because it's roughly that 6.66% income that the market naturally plateaus at. Like that's the time value of money. It's just something about human nature. So we have this. If it was to capture, obviously it doesn't capture 50% of the fees. Now this is like the best case scenario for oracles. If they were charging a whole bunch, but they're not charging that. But if it was charging 10% from Uniswap, and if Uniswap was sustaining that $1 billion a day with that 3% fee, and 10% of Uniswap's income went to the oracle provider, then it would be getting $1.5 billion evaluation market cap, or for that data pool. This is only one data pool. So the thing about capturing value in these oracles is you could have like 10 different Uniswaps operating, and so you have all these different data pools. Each one could be worth $1.5 billion, and so that's where you can see these oracles can get a lot of value pretty quickly if they have a lot of customers with a lot of volume. So oracles really get most of their value from volume crossing, and then that volume ends up paying for the services provided by the cost of the trust that the oracle provides. So worst case scenario, 1% of Uniswap's fees end up going to its oracle, and that would equal $150 million market cap for that data pool. All right, and so this is just an explanation of what how the token's used. So you have something called a token curated data source, and you have token curated registry. Collateral for data set tokens. So the token is used for collateral. It's used to elect data providers. It's used to pay data providers. security for the trust of the data set, and it's like DPoS for the data set. So you elect your data providers and based on how well the data is for them. If they don't provide good data, the data pool becomes useless. And who suffers the most? The data provider. So they want to provide good data. You also have the token curated registry, which is they lock up tokens for the data set. They vote to add or remove. Token holders can vote or add or remove a data set, and if the tokens you put up for a data set can be taken away for either those who vote against it or those who vote for it. So there's a huge desire to vote in an honest manner for the thing that you think is going to win. And that's a protection mechanism. So you can see the band token is used for all of this. Also, the token is used for voting and protocol upgrades. They have something called the bonding curve. As the data token, there will be more data tokens as the fees for a data pool go up. That's equivalent to income. The band tokens used as collateral to create more of these tokens goes up. So you can see as the data token goes up and the band needed to lock up for those extra data tokens goes up as well. So they're locked out of supply. As income for a data pool goes up, more band is locked up. So band is directly tied to the success of data pools, or and so all of this shows that oracles have an excellent business model for capturing a lot of crypto evaluations based on the volumes that we will see. So oracles are a very valid business model. They're a good part of a crypto diversity portfolio. And I do plan on buying some of this in the future when the price relaxes, because we have seen some significant overhype. And I do think Uniswap's volume will drop too because it's going through a hype phase. So I do think that's going to drop as well. We're going to see some drop in activity, at least in the short term, but obviously I expect crypto to have a massive amount of volume in the future, and oracles will be there to capture and serve those markets. So there's plenty of room for growth.